Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Mike over at Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So I want to clear up a few things. I've been seeing lots of comments in the comment section back and forth. And I want to clear some stuff up with factual numbers that you can actually go and research, and it's in black and white. So T-Mobile's open access fiber strategy gets clearer, right? But it's still relatively small no matter how you look at it, right? The cities that they're doing it in, it's only in pockets. They're only doing it in some states, in some cities in those states. So they haven't really gone, full scale or as aggressive as they possibly could. And many people are kind of going back and forth as to why that may be the case. And I want to kind of clear this up as to what this could lead to in the future. So right now, around fiber, T-Mobile is taking a capital light structure, not its overall core business, but just the fiber piece. Fiber to the home is where they're going to operate capital light. They don't want to change their main capital structure just yet. So that to me means they're still looking, they're still trying to test the waters to see how this affects the business, how accretive it is. So they're still looking at all of that. But I think they have an understanding that it's a good investment, but yet they want to still go small. So here's where I think the confusion is in all of this. So from a financial perspective, T-Mobile is deleveraging. They're currently at a 2.6 times. They were at a 2.7 times as of Q2. Now, as of Q3, that was just reported on October 25th, they're at a 2.6 times, and their debt is at $72.8 billion. Verizon and AT&T, if you compare them, they're at $130 billion worth of debt. So they have a lot more. They have a lot more debt versus T-Mobile. And if you look at the leverage numbers, cable is like at 4.3, and Comcast, they have they're at a 2.4. They're at an A rating. T-Mobile is 2.6 is I think it's at a double B or triple B rating. So they can do it. If they want to go big in fiber, they could most certainly fund this. The rates may not be in their favor right now if they go to the debt market, but if they wanted it to, they could fund a huge fiber build. If they wanted it to, if they really wanted it to, they could buy a smaller player, whatever the case may be. They disclosed publicly they're not going after Frontier, but they could have made that happen with the current balance sheet. If you look at their free cash flow for this year, it's going to be at 13.6. My estimation next year, they're gonna pull the 2026 guidance into 2024. I think they're going to be at somewhere of a range of $15 to $18 billion of free cash flow next year. So that's all good. That's good for the company. They're deleveraging. The debt is at 72.8, which is very manageable. Their finances are continuing to go up. And with time, eventually everything else will follow, right? They have a growing EBITDA of 12% when Verizon is flat. So if you grow your EBITDA at a 12% rate, that gives you borrowing power. Now, T-Mobile may hold off because, the rates aren't the greatest right now. They may wait till next year or the year after, but they can most certainly do that if they wanted it to. I've spoken with several people that are in the financial sector. They gave me comparisons to other companies that are struggling far worse, Lumen, for example, and T-Mobile is way better off. Now, do they still have some tweaking to do to get better? Of course. They can improve their financials even more. They can operate more efficiently. They can lean out some more, but that's going to likely lead to negative PR, right? The forced migrations, that was one piece. That was a negative PR. When they announced the 5,000 layoffs, that was a negative PR. And that was only negative because T-Mobile was preaching that they were going to be job positive day one. And that never happened. So that was a lie, right? Verizon and AT&T, we're used to that from them. It's whatever with them, right? Is it bad? Of course. But that's how they operate. That's their business model. They didn't come out and say that they're going to be job positive day one, right? They didn't make any such claims or statements. So it's kind of whatever with them, right? But T-Mobile, they specifically came out and said post merger, we're going to be job positive day one. That never happened. But it's neither here nor there. They're probably going to have to cut more positions in 2024. I'll be straight up with you guys. There's probably going to be another large layoff, probably 2 to 3,000, and their free cash flows are gonna increase because of that. The new rate plans that they have in motion now. They recently disclosed that the Go 5G Plus is at the same 60% take rate as the Magenta Max. So new customers are taking to that plan. It's priced higher. So all of that helps the finances. And then, of course, fixed wireless access adds to that. And then this fiber piece as well. Even though it's at a small footprint, they're still going to make some money from it. And I see them expanding that each and every quarter as we go through 2024 and as we go through 2025. And I think eventually they're just going to go big, right? That's kind of what Mike Siever was hinting at the third quarter earnings. They're kind of out at the pilot stage. So they're looking at some of the numbers. They've been looking at the beta tests. They like what they're seeing. That's why they're starting to engage and get into more partnerships. For now, I think that's all it will be. I think they're just going to do the partnerships. I'm told it's the most smartest way to operate this. You don't own any of the fiber. You don't have to operate it. Once you own and operate fiber, stuff's going to change drastically for T-Mobile, like insanely. I mean, their whole entire capital structure changes with them owning a fiber company, if that ever came to fruition. We're talking the OpEx is going to change because now you need a dedicated team to run that fiber. You need transport teams, you need CNE or whatever it's called. You just need entirely different groups running a wireline business. It's like its own different separate entity, and that would increase T-Mobile's capital structure tremendously. Their OpEx would blow through the roof. But in the future, it could lead to cost savings, right? Owning and operating the fiber at first, it's a heavy investment, but at the back end, right, you're no longer paying leasing, which, 10 gig fiber now is anywhere probably 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 monthly on a leasing cost. It's a lot of money, right? But rates are going down. T-Mobile says it's competitive in the market space, especially a major market that they're entering that has 4 or 5 fiber players. They can negotiate a cheaper cost. Like, hey, you're not willing to give me this cost. Are you willing to? Right. And then if they say, yes, I'm willing to give you that cost, then the other third party might say, well, I'll go a little bit cheaper than them. So that's how that kind of works, right? You negotiate and you get the best possible deal. And I think that's what T-Mobile does. That's how they treat leasing. I know you can't really mimic that everywhere. Like, for example, my market, there's only one fiber player, that's AT&T. And I'm sure there's other markets where there's only maybe 1 or 2 fiber players. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room there. You don't have a lot of negotiating to do. It's only, okay, this company's not doing it. Okay, they will give me that rate. I'll go with them because there's nobody else to really, negotiate and get a cheaper rate from. So I got to go with either or. So that's kind of that's just something that I wanted to discuss in this video. It's still the early innings for T-Mobile, if you will. They just closed the merger in 2020. I know that sounds not a long time ago. It's already been 3 years, going on 4, but they closed that merger. So they still have a ways to go to really become the behemoth of a company that Verizon and AT&T are today. They still have a lot of network to lay. They still have a lot of financials to increase. But eventually, I think they will head in the direction that they want to go. Of course, internally, they have stuff mapped out 5, 6, 7 years in advance that we haven't seen publicly yet. So in the next decade, T-Mobile could be owning their own fiber. It's very possible. I can see that happening. But first, they have to grow, hit their guidance. Mike Sievert disclosed at a Bloomberg interview they want to continue being share taker in the market. And they kind of have to because they're still underpenetrated in so many business segments: enterprise, small business, government, the rural footprint. They still have to grow there. Fixed wireless access, they got to get to the 7 to 8 million. I know that's still single digits and they're still growing into that, but it's a guidance they gave the market. So they got to get there, right? They got to get to the 7 to 8 million by 2025. And I think they do so competitively. They probably crush that number if I had to take a guess, but we still have a ways to go. So we'll see how that pans out. They have to get to 500,000 plus a quarter. That's something that they said already. They disclosed that. So there's always wiggle room. Some quarters they can do, like this last quarter, 557,000. One quarter they might want to accelerate to 650,000, just in case there's a quarter where they come in lower, right? So there's always room there to grow. They got, the fiber play, they got to grow there too now, right? Just because they partnered, they have to attach their brand, and they got to sell that fiber to the home now in those cities that they have it in. They got to do that. I think they do that successfully. They have a proven winning strategy, and it works for them. And then the core consumer business, they continue growing that by default. There's not much more they have to do there. That's a well-oiled machine. I'm just a little concerned about the network on the capacity side. They have to do more. I think there's more small cells that are needed. I wish there was a bit of a higher CapEx, but it seems to be working, right? No matter what you say or I say, the 9 to 10 billion that they've been investing in the network, it seems to work. That's all I can say about that. They're growing, they're deleveraging, free cash flows are increasing. They're doing everything they want to do with that 9 to 10 billion. They hit their 300 million pop count with 2.5. They hit 330 million with N71 600. They're starting to deploy fiber, although small scale. They're doing fiber to the home through third party. They're doing everything they want to do with that 9 to 10 billion. So if that's the amount, that's the amount, and I got to go with that, right? If they weren't hitting the numbers, if they were losing customers, if churn was through the roof above 1%, if they weren't growing fixed wireless access, then I would have a problem. Then I would have to do a call out video and say, T-Mobile, you need to invest more. The competition is killing you, this, that, and the third. But for now, everything that they laid out on the table, they're either hitting it or they're exceeding it. So we'll see what happens in the future. But for now, everything is working for the company as it should at a grand scale. And we'll see how it turns out next year and the year after. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.